are not able to get on, and I'll do this every time, and if I ever forget, you guys have permission to say, Miss Gilbert, you forgot again. It's going to be okay. We will post this video on the Google Classroom, so people who, Ava says she can't get in. So hang on a second. Let me send Ava the join info so that she can get in. I think they've put Ava in the wrong class. You never killed the spider, Zoe? Do you know where it went? Oh, see, that's worse than knowing where a spider is not knowing where a spider is. Now she's going to look for it. Okay, so next question. Every day you log in, every day you go to Google Classroom, is it easy to find your assignments for my class? You know exactly what to do? Okay. The only thing that's going to change over the next couple of weeks is I'm going to start posting your videos in the same, Zoe, it's going to be okay. I'll post your videos in the same place. It'll be just as easy to get to, but they're going to be a little bit different. Within the videos, it may stop and ask you some questions, and you'll have to answer the questions to make the video continue. And there's a reason I'm doing that. Some people, not necessarily you people, but some people are not watching all of the video. So not watching the video is like coming to class, coming to like school, putting your fingers in your ears while I teach you, and then taking your fingers out of your ears and trying to do the assignment. Does that make sense? It doesn't make any sense. I need you to watch the video. The video is me teaching you what you need to know. So when you skip the video, you're skipping the teaching part and going straight to the assignment. And we don't always do so great if we try the assignment without the teaching. So the videos are going to look a little bit different. You're going to have to be answering some questions during the videos. They won't be hard. If you're listening, you'll be easy to answer. But that's going to start happening next week. Okay? Sound good? Okay. So today you have a bell ringer. How do you feel about bell ringers? They okay? You understand what to do? They're not super hard, are they? Okay, you're going to start getting I'm going to start sending out different bell ringers. Some people are going to have bell ringers that have an A on them. Some will have a B. Some will have a C. I'm just going to mix it up a little bit until I find the bell ringer that best fits you. Okay. So don't be surprised if next week you have like 8C or 8D, or it's fine. It's still just a bell ringer and you still get credit for your bell ringer. That's all that matters. The other thing you have today is a lesson on skimming and scanning. So when you do a bell ringer, I want you to read the entire passage and read it word for word, because that's how you're going to be able to answer those questions. But sometimes you're going to be looking for something very specific when you are looking in a passage, and maybe you've already read it. For instance, if I read a whole bell ringer passage and then I get to the question and it says, what year did such and such happen? Well, numbers are pretty easy to find in a written passage, aren't they? You just have to go back and you scan the passage until you find that number. Does that mean you have to reread the whole thing again? No. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about scanning. If you're looking ahead at a passage just to see what it's going to be about, and you might read the first sentence of the first of each. Let me try that again. If you just want to see what the passage is about, you might read the first sentence. I don't know whose mic is on, but you have to leave it muted because I hear myself and then I can't talk. Thank you. If you do that, you are just skimming it. You're not really getting all the details, but you're just getting to find out kind of what the passage is about. So there's a short video about the difference, and I show you some examples, the difference between skimming and scanning. And then there's a 4-question, yeah, I'm not going to be scamming any of you. Scamming is when you take money from somebody or you trick them into giving you your money. That's a whole different thing. We're not doing that. Sorry. I'm glad we got to clarify that. Please don't let your parents think I'm teaching you about scamming. I'm not. Scanning with an N. I forgot what I was saying now. Oh, the assignment has 4 questions. And so I've given you 4 scenarios, like 4 scenes, and you have to tell me, okay, in this situation, I would skim it or I would scan it. See, now you've messed me up. All right. So sorry, Zoe. So does that make sense what your assignment is for today? You're going to go in and you're going to watch the video on skimming and scanning, and you're going to answer the 4 questions about whether you should skim or scan, okay? The other thing you're going to do today is it's at the very end. There's a video that tells you how to do this, and I'm going to let you watch it so you get all the information that you need. But you're going to go back into Flipgrid today. If you haven't posted a video, you need to get on it, because people are going to be starting to watch your videos and starting to respond to your videos. So today you're going to watch just half of the videos that are posted for this class, okay? Kind of take some notes as you're watching. See what people like. Think about what kind of questions you could ask them. When you're done watching the videos, you're going to choose 2 videos that you watch today, and you're going to record a response, okay? Your response is not just a written response, it's a video response. So in your video response, you're going to do 2 things. You're going to say one thing that you liked in their video. So if the person in the video likes fishing, you might comment and say, I really like fishing too. My grandpa always takes me fishing. Or it's cool that you like fishing. I wish I knew more about fishing. Make a connection with that person. And then find one thing that you could do to ask a question. Find something you could ask a question of that person. So if they said they were really into dirt bike racing, you could ask the question of when they got into dirt bike racing, or how many awards they've won, or where they go to ride, anything that you actually want to know. So you're going to make 2 video responses today, and I've included a video of instructions to tell you how to do that. Okay, so bell ringer, skimming and scanning, video and assignment, and record 2 short videos for your classmates. If you have not posted your own video, you need to do that today. Shake your head yes if you understand. Thanks. I have lots of little bobbleheads. Now hang on a second. I want to present my screen. Give me just a minute. I'm going to do this because since we're here today together, I want to do read aloud together. If you've already watched it, you don't have to stay, but it would be nice if you did. Hang on, I'm having trouble getting into my Kindle here. There it is. All right, just a minute. All right. What do you think? Somebody in the chat, tell me, what do you think about this book so far? Hang on a second, I'm coming back. I'm going to pull my, excuse me, I'm going to pull this microphone over a little bit. All right, let's see what you said here. What do you mean there's nothing there? Zoe, you said there's nothing there? No, I haven't presented. I was opening up my Kindle. Give me just a second. I'm going to present. Is that what you meant? Sorry. Yeah, I'm coming. My Kindle was not in the space where it was supposed to be. So let me present my screen now. Hang on, I'm coming. Okay. Now, can you see the Kindle on the screen? Shake your head yes if you can see the words on the screen. No? Yes. Okay. All right. So let me go back here, back to where we were going here. So yesterday we met Mr. Tishman, right? And have we read the Paging Mr. Tishman yet? Is that where we were? Okay. I get confused by what I'm reading. No, we did. We were on Nice Mrs. Garcia today. That's where we are. Let me go ahead. We finished with Paging Mr. Tishman yesterday. He met Mr. Tishman yesterday, and they were going into the school. Mr. Tishman said something about, oh, turn mics off, please.
No, technical difficulties.
It's okay.
No.
Thank you. All right, so we're on Nice Mrs. Garcia. So if you'll follow along, I'm going to read to you this afternoon. We followed Mr. Tishman down a few hallways. There weren't a lot of people around, and the few people who were there didn't seem to notice me at all, though that may have been because they didn't see me. I sort of hid behind Mom as I walked. I know that sounds kind of babyish to me, but I wasn't feeling very brave right then. We ended up in a small room with the words Office of the Middle School Director on the door. Inside, there was a desk with a nice seeming lady sitting behind it. "This is Mrs. Garcia," said Mr. Tishman, and the lady smiled at Mom and took off her glasses and got up out of her chair. My mother shook her hand and said, "Isabel Pullman, nice to meet you." "And this is August," Mr. Tishman said. Mom kind of stepped to the side a bit so I would move forward. Then that thing happened that I've seen happen a million times before. When I looked up at her, Mrs. Garcia's eyes dropped for a second. It was so fast, no one else would have noticed, but since the rest of her face stayed exactly the same. She was smiling a really shiny smile. Okay, before I go on, I want you to think about what he could possibly mean when he says a shiny smile. Because he's going to say that again, and I'm not entirely sure. I know what I think. They never really tell us, so I want to know what you think a shiny smile is. Okay, let's keep going. "Such a pleasure to meet you, August," she said, holding out her hand for me to shake. "Hi," I said quietly, giving her my hand, but I didn't want to look at her face, so I kept staring at her glasses, which hung from a chain around her neck. "Wow, what a firm grip," said Mrs. Garcia. Her hand was really warm. "This kid's got a killer handshake," Mr. Tishman agreed, and everyone laughed above my head. "You can call me Mrs. G," Mrs. Garcia said. I think she was talking to me, but I was looking at all the stuff on her desk now. "That's what everyone calls me. Mrs. G, I forgot my combination. Mrs. G, I need a late pass. Mrs. G, I want to change my elective." "Mrs. G is actually the one who runs this place," said Mr. Tishman, which again made all the grown-ups laugh. "Hey guys, I love that you're chatting with each other, but chatting in the chat while I'm reading is kind of like talking out loud while I'm reading. It's really distracting. So if you could just listen, we can talk in just a few minutes, okay? I know you're excited to see each other. I get it. But give me just a minute. This isn't a long chapter. Thank you." "I'm here every morning by 7:30, Mrs. Garcia continued, still looking at me while I stared at her brown sandals with small purple flowers on the buckles. "So if you ever need anything, August, I'm the one to ask. And you can ask me anything." "Okay," I mumbled. "Oh, look at that cute baby," Mom said, pointing to one of the photographs on Mrs. Garcia's bulletin board. "Is he yours?" "No, my goodness," said Mrs. Garcia, smiling a big smile now that was totally different from her shiny smile. "You've just made my day. He's my grandson." "What a cutie," said Mom, shaking her head. "How old?" "Well, in that picture, he was 5 months, I think. But he's big now, almost 8 years old." "Wow," said Mom, nodding and smiling. "Well, he is absolutely beautiful." "Thank you," said Mrs. Garcia, nodding like she was about to say something else about her grandson. But then all of a sudden her smile got a little smaller. "We're all going to take very good care of August," she said to Mom. And I saw her give Mom's hand a little squeeze. I looked at Mom's face, and that's when I realized she was just as nervous as I was. I guess I liked Mrs. Garcia when she wasn't wearing her shiny smile. Okay, here's where I want you to use the chat. What do you think they mean by the shiny smile, Miss Garcia's shiny smile? Anybody have an idea? Okay, so maybe the shiny smile means she's showing her teeth. I guess that means she really brushes well, huh? Just a shiny smile, maybe. That she's just happy. Okay. And he did say that, okay, her smile shined. Good. He did say that it was different than the big smile that she had when she was talking about her grandson. So, oh, hi, Miss Martin. How are you? Miss Martin, what do you think he means by shiny smile? I don't know how long you've been here. That may be a really unfair question.
No, I've been here for a while.
Okay, good.
I don't know. I mean, when I think of things that shine, I think that they are pleasant, like the sun shining or a
Right.
shiny metal object. So it has a positive, pleasant connotation for me.
Okay, I like that. I I think that she's trying super hard to be kind and to let August know that he's going to be okay and welcome him there. But I
Right.
also think she's a little taken aback by what he looks like. She wasn't quite prepared for
Mhm.
that. So
Mhm.
kind of wonder
Yeah.
if he thinks it's a maybe a plastic smile, a fake smile.
Yeah. Yep, that's good.
No. The good part about these kind of questions is there's no right answer. Guys, they never tell us what he means by shiny smile. It's totally up to us to kind of figure that out. And maybe as we get to know Mrs. Garcia, we'll know a little bit better about what that shiny smile is. She just brushes her teeth a lot, maybe so. All right, we're going to read the next section and then we're done for today. Let's go ahead and get there. Jack, Will, Julian, and Charlotte. We followed Mr. Tushman into a small room across from Mrs. Garcia's desk. He was talking as he closed the door to his office and sat down behind his big desk, though I wasn't really paying much attention to what he was saying. I was looking around at all the things on his desk, cool stuff, like a globe that floated in the air and a Rubik's type cube, but made with little mirrors. I liked his office a lot. I liked that there were all these neat little drawings and paintings by students on the walls, framed like they were important. Mom sat down in a chair in front of Mr. Tishman's desk, and even though there was another chair right next to hers, I decided to stand beside her. Why don't you have your own room? Sorry, why do you have your own room and Mrs. G doesn't? I said. You mean, why do I have an office? Asked Mr. Tishman. Well, you said she runs the place, I said. Oh, well, I was kind of kidding. Mrs. G is my assistant. Mr. Tishman is the director of the middle school, Mom explained. Now we're going to pause here. Sometimes we tell Miss Carlene she runs the school. Because think about this. Every time a phone call comes in, who answers it? Miss Carlene. Who buzzes in every single person who comes in the front door? Miss Carlene. That she's the first person everybody sees. So it feels like she runs the school, but who's in charge of our school? Miriam, I saw you say that. Your principal. So our principal, Miss McCauley, is in charge of our school. Yeah. Zoe, Miss Carlene gave you your science book. So see, it does feel like she's in charge. um, I love this part. So Mr. Tishman is the director of the middle school, Mom explained. Do they call you Mr. T? I asked, which made him smile. Do you know who Mr. T is? He answered. I pity the fool, he said in a funny, tough voice like he was imitating someone. I had no idea what he was talking about. On the video I made for today, I posted the picture of Mr. T. Mr. T was part of a show that was popular when I was growing up. This is Mr. T right here. Let me scroll over so you can see him. Mr. T was on the A Team when I was a kid. He was also in one of the Rocky movies. So this is why Mr. Tishman is kind of laughing and saying, "Yeah, they don't call me Mr. T." Because does this look like a middle school principal to any of you? No. So that's Mr. T. But August doesn't know who Mr. T is. All right. So yeah, August says I had no idea what he was talking about. Anyway, no, said Mr. Tishman, shaking his head. No one calls me Mr. T, though I have a feeling I'm called a lot of other things I don't know about. Let's face it, a name like mine is not so easy to live with. You know what I mean? Here I have to admit I totally laughed because I knew exactly what he meant. My mom and dad had a teacher called Miss Butt, I said. Hoggy, said Mom. But Mr. Tishman laughed. Now that's bad, said Mr. Tishman, shaking his head. I guess I shouldn't complain. Hey, so listen, August, here's what I thought we would do today. Is that a pumpkin? I said, pointing to a framed painting behind Mr. Tishman's desk. Augie, sweetie, don't interrupt, said Mom. You like it? Said Mr. Tishman, turning around and looking at the painting. I do too, and I thought it was a pumpkin too, until the student who gave it to me explained that it is actually not a pumpkin. It is, are you ready for this? A portrait of me. Now, August, I ask you, do I really look that much like a pumpkin? No, I answered, though I was thinking, yes. Something about the way his cheeks puffed out when he smiled made him look like a jack-o'-lantern. Just as I thought that, it occurred to me how funny that was. Cheeks, Mr. Tushman, and I started laughing a little. I shook my head and covered my mouth with my hand. Mr. Tishman smiled like he could read my mind. I was about to say something else, but then all of a sudden I heard other voices outside the office, kids' voices. I'm not exaggerating when I say this, but my heart literally started beating like I'd just run the longest race in the world. The laughter I had inside just poured out of me. The thing is, when I was little, I never minded meeting new kids because all the kids I met were really little too. What's cool about really little kids is that they don't say stuff to try to hurt your feelings, even though sometimes they do say stuff that hurts your feelings. But they don't actually know what they're saying. Big kids, though, they know what they're saying, and that is definitely not fun for me. One of the reasons I grew my hair long last year was that I like how my bangs cover my eyes. It helps me block out the things I don't want to see. Mrs. Garcia knocked on the door and poked her head inside. They're here, Mr. Tishman, she said. Who's here? I said. Thanks, said Mr. Tishman to Mrs. Garcia. August, I thought it would be a good idea for you to meet some students who will be in your homeroom this year. I figured they could take you around the school a bit, show you the lay of the land, so to speak. I don't want to meet anyone, I said to Mom. Mr. Tishman was suddenly right in front of me, his hands on my shoulders. He leaned down and said very softly in my ear, It'll be okay, August. These are nice kids, I promise. You're going to be okay, Augie, Mom whispered with all her might. Before she could say anything else, Mr. Tishman opened the door to his office. Come on in, kids, he said, and in walked two boys and a girl. None of them looked over at me or Mom. They stood by the door looking straight at Mr. Tishman like their lives depended on it. Thanks so much for coming, guys, especially since school doesn't start until next month, said Mr. Tishman. Have you had a good summer? All of them nodded, but no one said anything. Great, great, said Mr. Tishman. So, guys, I wanted you to meet August, who's going to be a new student here this year. August, these guys have been students at Beecher Prep since kindergarten, though, of course, they were in the lower school building, but they know all the ins and outs of the middle school program. And since you're all in the same homeroom, I thought it would be nice if you got to know each other a little before school started, okay? So, kids, this is August. August, this is Jack Will. Jack looked at me and put out his hand. When I shook it, he kind of half smiled and said, Hey, and then looked down really fast. This is Julian, said Mr. Tishman. Hey, said Julian, and did the same exact thing as Jack Will. Took my hand, forced a smile, looked down fast. And Charlotte, said Mr. Tishman. Charlotte had the blondest hair I've ever seen. She didn't shake my hand, but gave me a quick little wave and smiled. Hi, August. Nice to meet you, she said. Hi, I said, looking down. She was wearing bright green Crocs. So, said Mr. Tishman, putting his hands together in kind of a slow clap, what I thought you guys could do is take August on a little tour of the school. Maybe you could start on the third floor. That's where your homeroom class is going to be. Room 301, I think. Mrs. G is room 301, Mrs. Garcia called out from the other room. Room 301, Mr. Tishman nodded. And then you can show August the science labs and the computer room. Okay, mute yourself, please.
What?
Somebody's mic is on. I need you to mute yourself, please. Thank you. And then you can show August the science labs and the computer room, then work your way down to the library and the performance space on the second floor. Take him to the cafeteria, of course. Should we take him to the music room? Asked Julian. Good idea. Yes, said Mr. Tishman. August, do you play any instruments? No, I said. It wasn't my favorite subject on account of the fact that I don't really have ears. Well, I do, but they don't exactly look like normal ears. Well, you may enjoy seeing the music room anyway, said Mr. Tishman. We have a very nice selection of percussion instruments. August, you've been wanting to learn to play the drums, Mom said, trying to get me to look at her. But my eyes were covered by my bangs as I stared at a piece of old gum that was stuck to the bottom of Mr. Tishman's desk. Great. Okay, so why don't you guys get going, said Mr. Tishman. Just be back here in... He looked at Mom. Half an hour, okay? I think Mom nodded. So is that okay with you, August? He asked me. I didn't answer. Is that okay, August? Mom repeated. I looked at her now. I wanted her to see how mad I was at her. But then I saw her face and just nodded. She seemed more scared than I was. The other kids had started out the door, so I followed them. See you soon, said Mom, her voice sounding a little higher than normal. I didn't answer her. And that is all we are going to read today. Let me get back over here. All right, Camden, it's okay. So now you know, we now know that he is definitely going to this school, according to all the things everybody's been saying. He now is going to meet 3 potential friends for when he starts school. And tomorrow, when you read, we'll have a Google Meet again tomorrow at the same time. So we'll read the next part about the tour that he gets from Jack Will and Julian and Charlotte. Okay. So your job for the rest of ELA class is to go to Google Classroom and watch the video on skimming and scanning. Miss Martin, they thought I was going to teach them to scam each other earlier. It's not the same thing. And then to do your Flipgrid stuff. But your iReady reading diagnostic needs to be done before tomorrow, before the end of the day tomorrow. So if you haven't done that, that's super important. Okay. All right. Miss Martin, do you want to say anything to these kiddos?
Sorry, I was muted when I shouldn't be. How are you liking Wonder, guys? Yeah?
And get a few thumbs up.
A little thumbs up, thumbs down. Sure, there's not a thumbs down. I'll cry if there's a thumbs down.
Here. I've got the okay.
How many of you seen the movie?
Oh, not as many as I thought.
Yeah. Well, the book is so much better than the movie anyways, although it is a good movie.
It is. It is. I appreciated it.
Yep. No, I really just thought I would pop in because I got some kids in here. So
yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you joined us. The movie for Wonder, Camden. There is a movie just like it. Yes, Zoe. Oh, she's typing us. You saw the movie. It is a good movie. There are things they can't put in a movie that are in that if they put all the details from the book in a movie, the movie would be like 6 hours long. Tell me again, Zoe. Zoe, can you unmute yourself and talk to us? Tell me what your locker problem is.
I was adding the last thing and it said file deleted. And I'm like, seriously?
But then I sent it back to you. Were you able to open it up and see the blank one again so you could restart? I'm not Miss Martin. I went to your original and copied the first 2 slides because her first 2 slides were gone, and I inserted them in her assignment and sent it back to her. But I don't know if I was just guessing that might work.
Right. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of guessing lately.
Yeah, it is the theme of the year, I think.
Zoe, were you able to see it? Did you look again? Would you look and see if you can see it? I mean, so should I try to reissue it to her from my end?
Yeah, if she can't see it now, you may have to.
Okay.
It's loading, she says. Okay. Okay, if you all don't have any problems, like technical problems, and you want to go ahead and go get started on the skimming and the scanning and the Flipgrid stuff, you're welcome to go ahead and go. If you still have a question, you can hang out for a few minutes. Don't be scamming anybody now, Camden. I see you over there. All right. If you don't have questions, go ahead and say bye and I know it's just a joke, buddy. Say bye and you can go ahead and get started on work. If you have a question or a technology issue, you need to stay with us, okay? Otherwise, I'll see you guys here tomorrow. Same time, same station.